Hello everybody, and welcome back to day 98 of the road to 2K on chess.com. Today we're sitting at 1931, and we're going to go ahead and start our 10-minute game. Now, if you enjoy the content, and as we move through the game, definitely comment on how I could play this position better. If you enjoy the video, hit the like button, and then make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and that just helps you make sure that you don't miss any of my future content. So, on today's board, we have the Zervalev counter gambit. Now, normally this comes after... or I guess knight to f6, we go straight into f4. So after bishop to b4, I believe the move here is actually d4, where you self-pin this knight, you attack the center, and we go for this queen move, where now we are threatening both the bishop and this pawn over here on g7. And this is a very, very sharp line, a very sharp gambit. Our opponent takes... And I believe the move here is b takes. Now, queen takes is fine. I don't see a massive downside to queen takes. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do queen takes to keep my pawns together. f6 is definitely a move. Not a fantastic move, I don't think, but a move all the same. So here what I'm going to do is I'm tempted to play the move bishop to e3, long castles. Then we'll develop our pieces as such, simply trying to gain a small opening advantage. Now here, my opponent very clearly wants to castle, so I'm going to play bishop to c4 now, essentially stopping them from doing so. And I might play queen to b3 next. Now this is building for the move d5. Long castles also stops the push d5. So push, takes, bishop takes. And I think the only thing we actually have is we have a counter check over here. But the rook is on file with the queen. So even after this, it's not super clear. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this time just to develop another piece because our opponent can't take, because the rook views the queen. I didn't even mention our opponent today is a 1947 made this year from Indonesia. And now the pawn can't take because it's pinned. There are definitely some weaknesses over here. So I'm going to take once. Our opponent takes back with the pawn. I'm going to play the move bishop to c5, trying to take here. And if our opponent takes once again, we're just going to push straight through. So bishop to c5 is on the board. And I really, really like this position for us. I think we've taken most of the counterplay out of the white position. If I take here now, rook takes, or knight takes, I can't actually take here yet. So what I might do is I might just bring my second rook in and attack this knight a second time. Now that does allow for my opponent to try and develop to save pawn, but I don't think they're able to fast enough. And all of our pieces are developed. Our king is out of the center. I love this position for us. I can't think of much more I'd want to go right in this position. So, our opponent plays move b6, asking our dark square bishop where it wants to go. Well, what I could do is I could play queen to b3, but it does run into knight to a5. If I take once and knight takes, I just don't really know what I want here. Bishop takes looks good, but doesn't quite work. I really can't really play queen to b3 anyways because it runs into d captures c. Queen to b4 obviously doesn't work. I could go for queen to e3. Lots of ideas here. Could also play my bishop here. And I think bishop to b5 is a reasonable move, because our opponent can't actually move this knight because the knight would hang. So I'm going to go bishop to b5. If our opponent pushes through, we have 3 defenders of that square. And if our opponent pushes the pawn, we can also move this bishop right back. And then it's a check. So, probably a necessary waste of time. We did hang a bishop, unfortunately, which I did miss. The counterplay here is we have this pawn that we can take. So I think I'm going to go ahead, take off the pawn, queen captures c5. And then I'm looking to potentially take this. And our opponent doesn't have a super easy way to defend. So what are we going to do here? Being down a piece, obviously not ideal. The bishop comes in. If I take once, knight comes in. Well, if knight comes in, rook takes. If I go rook takes now and rook takes, that doesn't do anything. Bishop takes here. Rook takes knight, queen takes, and then we take. And here, knight takes, I think rook takes d5 as the best move. All right, let's take one. So let's play bishop captures c6. Trying to see what they want to take back with next. Yeah, it's not the most intuitive move. So now I could play here. Opponent has queen to b6. After queen b6, queen back, knight over. I could go queen check, but I don't think we get enough for the piece. If I go rook in, rook over, rook takes. And we're scrambling a little bit here. I'm just going to go ahead and play rook captures d5, get back our pawn. There is a discovered attack with this knight on our rook as well. So the queen does come in. Now, like I said, queen to c4. If the knight comes to a5, I think we just take. So I'm going to come back one square. Ready for this discovered attack. Position's not busted just yet. We're getting close. We're definitely getting close. But we should be able to survive a few more moves. And I'm hoping that's all we need. All right, king slides over. And now after rook to b5, then our opponent can take over here. And then we take. So rook b5, I imagine queen to c7's the move. Interestingly enough, now there is knight to a5. After takes, knight takes, rook takes, bishop. We gain our piece back. So, I mean, this is like trademark Zervalev counter gambit. It's incredibly, incredibly sharp. I am seeing his tactic here. If we can get our knight onto g6 and bring our rook to slide over, that's checkmate. So our opponent pins our rook. If I take, our opponent takes here. If I move here, our opponent still can go here. And then I just slide over. But they're also counterattacking down here. Oh, I guess I'm defending. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go knight to h4. I'm trying to set up this tactic. I might have one move to play rook to e3 before I'm completely toast here. Now knight to a5 is a very tricky move. Our opponent opts to go here instead. Which admittedly I didn't see. If I go rook takes, pawn takes, then we no longer have this check. I could go rook takes this way, but then that hangs our queen. So I think here, I just have to play queen to b3, getting out of the way, putting a second attacker on this bishop. The nice part is my rook is no longer pinned. But it is not an easy position. So we are also down 2.5 minutes on the clock. Bishop comes in. Rook takes here, and if they take the pawn that looks free, then we have this. But after pawn takes, rook over pawn takes. So it doesn't quite work. I mean, clearly we can't just go here. If I come back, I suppose I can come back to b4. I don't see the immediate downside. I think queen to h5 poses some pretty substantial threats on this rook. And now I am threatening rook captures pawn. Rook captures knight. So our opponent misses it. If I go rook captures knight, the issue is our opponent has queen to f1 check. And I don't have time to play f4 because it cuts me off. It's so close to working. Rook here, queen check. I have to do something. I'm running out of time. And I'm just not finding anything. I guess I'm going to play a3 and run my king over. If the knight moves, then I have a tactic. Bishop comes in. I'm going to slide my queen over. Obviously, now our opponent might go here. Oh, I just burnt way too much time. How unfortunate. Because I feel like we had this kind of in the grasp of our hand. And we still just missed it. Queen to h3, threatening here. Threatening rook takes, really. Our opponent could play bishop to e6, which is annoying. And it might just be another one of those days where we play way too slow. Just way, way too slow. Gosh, we still don't have rook takes because we just have back rank problems. How embarrassing. There comes that. It's not a shock. Five seconds. Oh, that just hangs the queen. Yep. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. That's pretty silly. Let's go ahead. Let's look at the game review. Let's see how he actually did. All right. So we played with a 73.1 today, and our opponent played with an 81.3. Out of the opening, I actually really liked our position. I remember d4 for once, which was a very nice take. Now, we did take 30 seconds immediately on queen capture c3. After f6, bishop e3, bishop c4, and long castles, I thought we had a completely fine position, and I love this for us. However, after d5, knight to f3, castles, e takes, and then we played bishop to c5. Our opponent played knight b c6. We played rook out he1, b6. And here, I think this is the definition of we took too long on a move, and we forgot that the pertinent threat was b captures c. So what I should have done here is probably just simply take the knight, if knight back. At this point, we have rook takes, knight, queen takes, and then bishop captures pawn, which then wins the rook back for the exchange. Instead, I overcomplicated the position, and after b6, I panicked, played bishop to b5, and we gave up a full bishop. And even after that, we fought back. We created some small chances. And what I was going for here was a really nice mate. I think it's called a Bowden's mate, where the queen cuts off the final square, the knight comes in, and then a rook typically slides over to take the open file. However, it was just much too slow. Our opponent was able to find all the best moves as they crushed us in time trouble. Now here, what I meant to do was just take here. I don't think it matters because then there's queen captures c2 checkmate. But we lose this one, so a little bit of an annoying way to lose, but that's what happens. So on that note, I will go ahead and see you guys on the next episode.